welcome to your yoga video of the day, of the week, shall I say. This week, or Hindu goddess of the week, is Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi is the goddess of devotion. So today, it's all about surrendering and bowing down to the divine and letting go and trusting, right? So we're going to dabble a little bit into Yin Yoga. So if you've never heard of Yin Yoga, it's a very particular style of yoga about long holds in poses. When I say long holds, it's not in number of breath, it's in number of minutes. So even though these are poses on the floor, either seated or supine, it doesn't mean it is easy. In fact, it's rather challenging, because truly in Yin, all you have to do is nothing. Nothing. It's just letting the body go. It's surrendering completely in the pose and letting the body go where it needs to go without you forcing anything. It's about letting go completely and feel. Yes, you will feel a lot in Yin Yoga, but this is the yoga of feeling. And the theory behind it is that the energy flows through the body in meridians. So maybe you're aware that we have these meridians which have a parallel in more Indian-based traditions. In Indian-based tradition we call that nadis. But these meridians are channels of energy running through the body and letting the energy flow, of course. And what we say in Yin is that these meridians are in the body, but very deep in the body. So not in the muscles, but in the connective tissues, so tendons, ligaments. And to be able to open these meridians, these areas need to be stretched. But because this is very thick and hard tissues, these tendons and ligaments, you have to let the process happen. And this is why long holds. And Yin Yoga targets mainly low back, hips, well, everything related to the pelvis and these big joints that we have here in the hips, of course, that make the connection between the lower body and the upper body. And today, the pose that we're going to see is seated forward fold, which some of you may know as Paschimottanasana in Sanskrit. But here it's a bit less forced. Now you will see, I'm sure everybody knows that pose traditionally taught. But here we're going to see the pose not so traditionally taught, more in Yin Yoga. So at some point during the video, I'm going to ask you to pause. Because, hey, long hold again. So you will be able to pause and stay there for any number of minutes that you want. It can be up to 10 if you already have some kind of practice in Yin Yoga. If you're brand new to Yin Yoga, maybe stay 3 minutes, and then you can walk with this pose progressively up to 5, 7, 10 minutes. So if you have a timer nearby, that could be a good idea to actually set it to any number of minutes. But first I'm going to explain you that pose. Okay, so what you're going to do is basically sit with your legs straight. And while the standard Paschimottanasana requires you to really flex the feet and straight legs and roll the thighs in, here you're going to just let the body go and drop completely. And then upper body. Are we going forward or not? Yes, we are. In standard yoga, I'd say, with Paschimottanasana, you really have to be long and then keep the length, keep the lower back flat, and just fold over the legs and reach and stretch as much as you can, so you can actually grab the feet, big toes, outer edges of the feet. Here in Yin Yoga, yes, you still have to get some length, but then engage a little bit, the abdominals, lower abs, but then fold and more like drop into the pose. So as you will see here, I'm rounding my back. which is completely normal in yin yoga. My feet are out, so rather than having the thighs internally rotated, I let them do whatever it is that they naturally do. And for me, that would be externally rotate and toes out. But it's okay, because that's what we want in yin yoga, to let the body drop completely. And then hands on the floor. So I could go a little bit further with my hand, but that's not the point, to go further. What you want to do is let the body go where it has to go and leave some space, so as you drop into the pose, as the connective tissues here start to stretch, as you're creating space in your spine, in your vertebrae, slowly you will be able to move forward a little bit more without forcing anything. That's the whole point. So it might sound a little bit like harsh to stay in that pose for a few minutes, but I really encourage you to do it. And breathe. Focus on your breath, and every time you feel your body's contracting a little bit, direct your breathing to the space where it's contracted, and then try to stretch and let go and drop. Again, it's about surrendering, it's about bowing down to the divine. So this is exactly what we're going to do. If that's a little too hard for you and you feel your lower back is really rounding like this, what you can do is grab, for instance, a blanket and support yourself, prop yourself up a little bit. If it's too low, you can use a block or a book, like we said, and have a block and book underneath the blanket. So you get a little bit of traction and you can fall forward more easily. I'm going there. Maybe I'll stay there by the way. If you need some support for your head, again, you can grab a block or a cushion and have your head supported. Okay, that could be a nice way also to modify according to your body, as long as you can stay here for a few minutes. So now is your time to set the timer and drop into the pose. And I'll see you on the other side. Oh, hello. How do you feel? Now, if you dance, when you go up, slowly come up, 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 up. And you might notice a little difference in your spine, like, oh, I've actually gained a few inches or centimeters, depending on where you are. But you might feel a little bit taller and a bit weird as well. So, after that pose, bend your knees, bring your feet flat on the floor, and bring forearms to the floor. And then let your body drop. And here you can have the shoulders coming up a little bit to meet the ears. Just as you gain some stretch again in the shoulders, drop the head, look at your navel. And you might feel your pelvis slight of adjusting here. There's always a little clack, clack, clack going on in my lower back when I do this, but it's like everything's falling back into place for me. So whatever it is that you feel, it's all good. And then come all the way down, bring your knees into your chest and squeeze. Squeeze your knees in and feel your whole spine touching the floor, melting into the floor, getting long here. Then extend your legs out, bring your arms overhead and stretch, 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 forward. And then, let's drop into Shavasana. Arms wide, feet wide. And stay there for a few minutes. And give yourself some time to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, to experience the feelings. And to trust everything is good. If you have a little bit more time, please stay there as long as you like. Otherwise, start wiggling your toes, fingers, and bend your knees. Bring your knees up to your chest. Keep your Eyes closed, and slowly come up to a sit. Press up, take a comfortable seated position, and bring your hands at your heart center. Put your chin to your chest. And stay there for a moment. Thanks a lot for being here. Namaste.